it's Melissa from Melissa's Creations, and I have another special episode for you because we are doing the Inspire, Create, Share blog hop today. And of course, we are still showcasing our sale-a-bration products, and I wanted to use the Happy Wishes stamp set, so I made this beautiful card here. We're going to make the same card with a few slight adjustments. However, this is not an ordinary gatefold card because you can see that it is a gatefold, but it's not an ordinary one. I'm really excited. This is the first time I've made a card like this using this technique, so super excited. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Let's open this up, and it's a shutter card. I am so excited about this card. It is so fun. We have our best on the outside and our wishes on the inside. Yay! And I've closed it with a little bit of Velcro to keep that shut. I am so excited about this card. I can't wait to show you how I made it. Let's get started. All right, here are the pieces that we will need. We're starting off with a powder pink card base. This is a standard size 5.5 by 8.5. We're going to be scoring this in just a moment, but it's the standard scores for a gatefold card. We have some pieces of our Fresh Florals Designer Series paper here. I have 2 pieces for the outer panels. I've cut both of these at 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And I have my inner panel mat, which measures 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And it's just the reverse of that side. I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock here. This is for our inner panel base, and this measures 3 inches by 5 1/2. And I have a piece of crumb cake cardstock here. This is just a scrap. It's about 4 by 5 1/2. We're just going to use it to cut out an oval for our embellishment on the front of our card. I also have a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock that we are going to use to cut out some of our embellishments for the front as well. So I have a piece of Tranquil Tide cardstock here that we're going to be cutting our banner pieces out with. I'm going to cut 2 pieces that measure 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. All right, and with the 3 1/2 inch edge at the top, we're going to scoot this over to 1/2 inch and give that a score on both pieces. And while we have our Stampin' trimmer out, I'm going to take my card base and we're going to do some scoring on this as well. I want to score it with the long edge at the top. I'm going to score it first at 2 1/8. And then again at 6 3/8. Now, if you don't want to count all those little tick marks, all you have to do is rotate and score it again on this edge at 2 1/8. We are going to start today with our stamping, so I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat just to have that little foamy surface. I have my scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I am using the sale-a-bration set Happy Wishes. There are so many gorgeous stamps in here. Beautiful sentiments. I love these. Now, this is a new level 2 reward this year with sale-a-bration. Every $100 you spend, you get to choose a level 2 item or 2 level 1 items. So if you spent $100 on a qualifying purchase, then you could pick up this amazing sale-a-bration set. I'm going to grab out the best down here, and we're going to get that mounted up so we can stamp that down. And I am also using the word wishes to go on the inside of my shutter card. And we're going to stamp our best using the Crumb Cake Classic Stampin' Pad. So we're going to ink that up nice and juicy. And we're gonna stamp it down. Make sure you leave room around it because we will be cutting this out with an oval. Beautiful. Now we have that stamped. I can put my crumb cake away and use our Tranquil Tide Classic Stampin' Pad to stamp the word wishes. And again, we're gonna cut this out with another oval or a circle shape, so leave a little bit of room around it to cut. And now one of the parts that I think is super fun, we're going to add a little bit of coloring to this word here just to spruce it up a bit. So I'm going to bring you in a little closer, and I'm using my 2017-2019 Stampin' Write markers in the ink colors here. We're going to grab out that beautiful Tranquil Tide and the powder pink. And I'm going to start with my Tranquil Tide, and what I'm going to do is take the fine tip edge and I'm just gonna go in and color in where all the leaves are on this stamp. Now you will lose a little bit of detail by coloring in this way, but I think the color contrast is worth it because it's so cute once it's all colored in. So we're just gonna color these in, and I'm also going to use that fine tip to color in those dots. So I'm just, basically it's called stippling. I'm just gonna stipple where it is white on the letters. All right, now that we have those colored in, we're going to get our Big Shot out and do some cutting. I have my Big Shot platform right here, along with my thin die adapter and a cutting plate. We are going to grab out our Stitched Shapes Framelits dies, and we're going to use every shape on this card. Not every die, but every shape, a square, circle, and an oval. So let's turn this guy over, and let's see, we are using the second largest oval for our sentiment, so we'll get that out. We are using the largest oval to cut out our crumb cake cardstock. Okay, so we've got that. We are using the second largest circle on our Whisper White inner mat. We're using the second largest circle on our Designer Series paper mat for the inside of our card. And we're also going to use the same circle that we're using on our Whisper White mat to cut out our wishes sentiment here. So let's get those cut out first. I'm going to place those dies onto my cardstock and get them all ready to go. So on my Whisper White mat, I want to get my placement, and I'm leaving about an inch or so from the top of my cardstock here, between the top and the start of the die. I want a little bit of room up here because we need to allow room for our dimensional strip as well as for the shutter mechanism to work. So that's why it's not totally centered and it's not all the way aligned with the top. It's down a little bit. And on this circle, I've put a little bit of snail on the back just to get it a little bit tacky. Make sure that you use your finger to kind of weaken that adhesive, because what we're going to do now is line up our designer paper on the back side of our Whisper White. And I'm just lining it up so that it has an even amount of space, so I kind of know where my placement is going to be. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to use that circle that we cut out as a template for where to cut my large circle out of this piece. So I have my template now. I can use the larger circle and put it right on top, and that will let me center it so that it is going to be as even and centered as I can get it when I layer these pieces together. All right, so we can remove this. These are going into our scrap pile so that we can use them on another project. And now with this piece, when we lay it on top of our white piece, it will have a beautiful mat. We'll have a nice kind of port window here, and it will line up just perfectly. Okay, last cutout. We're taking that largest oval and we're going to cut out some crumb cake. And I'm going to use the second largest stitched square from our stitch shape framelits dies. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it upside down. So I have my die with the cut side up, and then I'm going to put my banner cardstock on top of that, and I'm doing it upside down so that I can see where the corners line up, because that will help me to get a really nice looking banner cut. So now we'll put our cutting plate on top of that and run that through. And there is one of our banners, and we'll do the same thing to the other one. All right, so I have my card base here. I'm going to use my bone folder to give both of those score lines a crease. Now this is just like a standard gatefold base that we're turning into our shutter card. So we'll just fold and crease those edges. And I'm going to bring in those panels that we cut earlier for the front of our card. So I'm going to get out my snail and adhere those panels to the front. Okay, so there's the front. Now let's work on our embellishment. So I have my piece that I stamped, colored, and cut out with our stitch shape framelits. I also have my crumb cake oval that I cut out, and I'm going to be using this finely woven ribbon in that powder pink as kind of a ruffle behind this design here. So I'm going to use my snail to adhere my Whisper White stamped piece to my crumb cake piece. You could definitely use dimensionals if you'd like to pop it up and give it a little bit more oomph, but I do like the crumb cake. And I'm going to run my snail all the way around the outside of that crumb cake back piece. Okay, and then I'm going to take my ribbon and we're just going to start kind of at an angle, and we're going to make little ruffles by just going around. It does take quite a bit of ribbon to do this, so I think it looks cute though. I think it's totally worth it. So we're just gonna go up and down all the way around that crumb cake piece. Now hot glue would be your best friend with this kind of ribbon technique that I'm using here, but I am trying to get away with not digging out my hot glue gun because A, I don't know where it is, and B, I know wherever it is, it's going to be a lot of work to find. So, all right, so to finish it off, we're going to chop this guy off. He's just going to go on the inside like that, and then I'm going to take my tear and tape, and I'm going to use that to keep all of these in place. So I'm just gonna kind of go all the way around to help hold these all down and hold them in place. And you can do this as you're going around too. You don't have to do it at the end like I'm doing. But we're gonna hold all these down. There we go. And then once you get back to the end, I'm just going to do a couple of crosses here so that it makes sure that it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, one there, there. And again, hot glue is probably your best friend for this kind of technique that I'm doing with the ruffled ribbon. And there may be a better way to do it, but that's just the way that I did it. And I think it came out kind of cute. See? So there's our fun little embellishment for the front. So I'm going to pop up some dimensionals in the middle of my embellished piece with all of my ruffled ribbon. So I'm going to get those dimensionals down in there, and that'll give something for my oval to stick to. Okay, so now we can put that oval over the top of this, and it looks nice and finished on both sides. There we go. So now I have some Velcro dots. These are the 5/8 inch Velcro that you can pick up at any, craft supply store. And I'm going to peel one of those off, and it's the male and the female. So I'm going to want to put it on the right side of my embellishment here. So I'm just gonna put it right there. What you're gonna do is take some more of your tear and tape, and you're going to put some tear and tape on the left side of your embellishment, and just the left side. You don't want it anywhere but the left, because if you put it on all of this piece here, then your card will be glued shut. So make sure that you only have it on the one side. We'll tear those backing pieces off. And now we can get our placement. So I want it to go right about here. Okay, so now we're gonna adhere that Velcro that's on this side and the tear and tape that's on this side. And once that Velcro is stuck down, there we go. So that is the way that our card will stay closed. So now let's work on the inside. Okay, so first of all, we're going to use some snail to adhere our designer series paper down to our Whisper White card mat. All right, now we're going to use this to get the placement for our wishes sentiment. So I'm going to center this in the middle of my card. And then we're going to put some snail on the back of our wishes sentiment, and we're just going to put it right in the middle, right like as if we didn't even cut it out. Now we have the placement for that. So now we can use our dimensionals, and we're going to pop these up just along the very top and the very bottom. That's all we need on this. And it does pain me not to use like a whole sheet of dimensionals on a project, but for this we can't, because if we did, the shutter mechanism wouldn't work. So I'm just putting some at the very bottom and some at the very top, and we'll get that stuck down. And again, center that back up, line it back up. There we go. Okay, so now we have those two banner pieces that we cut earlier, and I'm going to kind of crease that score line on both of those. Okay, and now we're going to stick them inside of our card like this, one and then the other, and we're going to make it so that it's closed. So we want our shutter to be closed, and we want to line it up so that the edge of our banner here meets the edge of our score line on our card base on each end. And then you want to make sure that they're lined up in the center. So I'm just going to kind of give it a little close just to make sure it's going to work. And now I'm going to take my snail, and you can use a stronger adhesive too, definitely. Like the Terran tape would work really well for this. But I'm just going to use snail right now, and I'm just going to put some snail on the edges of that Tranquil Tide banner piece. Just a little bit on each edge will do it. And now I'm just going to close the card and get that to stick down. Okay, so then when we get our card open, we should have our shutter. Yay, look at that. It works. All right, and then of course, some finishing touches. We are going to add a few of our beautiful pearls. Now I have some old style sheets here that I needed to use up, so I'm just gonna pop a couple of these guys all over the front of our card. And there we are, creators. There is our super fun shutter card. I love it. It came out so nice. What do you guys think? Oh my gosh, have you made a shutter card before? I absolutely love this technique, and I was so excited to get it down onto cardstock with the Happy Wishes Sale-a-bration set. Remember, during Sale-a-bration, you can earn free rewards just for shopping. Be sure to head over to my website to learn more on how you can earn those awesome rewards. Be sure to head over to my blog post where you can scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on that next button so that you can keep on hopping and see all of the other wonderful, talented demonstrators that are part of this blog hop. To get all the supplies that you need, if you don't already have a demonstrator, head over to melissascreations.com and click on Shop Now. You can also follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/mcreations and on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest with the handle @mcreations. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoy this hop. There are some awesome projects, so don't forget to check those out by clicking on that next button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Hey guys, it's Melissa from Melissa's Creations. This morning we get hammered with a lot of snow. And so we go into the groomers, I check her in, and I check my phone to send a text to my husband telling him that I made it, and I turn around and she pooped all over the floor. I already got my free Dutch Brothers coffee because I had one of those little punch cards. So, you guys, I am right in the middle of filming a video, and you guys are going to get a sneak peek. I am so excited about this card. But you guys get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes on how I do my videos. Like, I'm going to edit the snot out of this video, so it'll just be kind of fun for you to see what I do, how I talk about things, what I say, and you'll get to see everything that I cut out of the video. So you can see right here, this is my camera, this is how I film, and I have it on a tripod that I have shoved into my paper rack here. You can see it's just kind of hanging out there. I have my Stampin' trimmer out here and a piece of Tranquil Tide cardstock. Now I need 2 banners and oops. See, I already messed up, you guys. That piece wasn't big enough. It works! Look at this, guys. There's our shutter card. The first time I made the card, I didn't change the banner measurement. So that's why I had to cut it like 10 times because I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know exactly what size it was. So you guys will laugh when you see me edit this video. It's gonna be so funny to see everything that I edit out of this video.